Well, I was in church all my life, but I never really accepted Jesus Christ until 2004. And it was on July the 24th at 10:30 a.m. And it was at the old Faith Christian Fellowship with a pastor in my life named Pastor John Miller. He's been a friend of ours for many years. I actually called him that morning, and he was already at the church praying at the seat that I was sitting in on Sunday. I always looked at Jesus as like an earthly father figure, and I don't know my dad, and I compared Jesus to my earthly father figure who was never there, and I felt like I was forgotten about, abandoned, forsaken, and I realized that Jesus wasn't like that. And before Jesus Christ, I went through the process and the routines, the rituals is the best word I could say, of what it was like to be a Christian, but I never lived it in my heart. So my outside was doing all the right things and saying all the right things, but I never had Jesus Christ in my life, and I never had that inner peace until I accepted him into my life and asked for forgiveness of my sins. I like professional wrestling. And the night before, I actually got a DVD of a guy named Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he wore a t-shirt that said Austin 316. And in the video, he said, Austin 316 said, I just kicked your butt, but he used the other word. And I didn't know all the Bible, but I knew that verse didn't say that. So I was working second shift at the time, and after that I went to bed, and I had a dream that I missed the rapture. And when I woke up, my wife Angie was not there, and I thought this wasn't a dream, I thought it was real. And I just couldn't find her in our home, so I picked up the phone, because we didn't have cell phones back then, and I called her, and she was at work. And I told her the situation, and as I said a couple minutes ago, I immediately called Pastor John, and little did I know it, when I called him, he was at the same chair that I was sitting in on a Sunday morning, and he was praying for me. And I shared with him what happened in the video and how I knew that I'm not right with God, and I needed to quit playing games and really ask Jesus Christ into my life so that this dream wouldn't become a reality. And at 10:30 a.m., it was a Wednesday morning on 2000, July 24th, the left-hand side of the altar, I knelt down, and he went over the Romans road with me, and I asked for forgiveness and asked Jesus Christ into my life. Realizing that Jesus does forgive me, because a lot of times it's hard for me to forgive myself for the things that I've done in the past and the people that I hurt and the mistakes that I've made. But I've learned that that's where his grace and his mercy and his love comes, and it's closer to us then at those moments than ever any before. Knowing that I am accepted the way I am, there's nothing that I have to do to please somebody except for surrender myself unto Jesus, and he accepts me just the way that I am. Shortly after I accepted Jesus Christ, I felt like I wanted to become a youth pastor. And I didn't want it to be just emotions or, hey, is this what you feel when you accept Jesus? So I started studying, reading the Word, turned to people that I knew in the faith, and I had a calling that I wanted to be a youth pastor. So shortly after that, I began Bible college, and I went for 7 years to Antietam Bible College to study to be a youth pastor. And I actually started out as a youth pastor for 10 years with Pastor John and Melissa Miller. And then after that, we had the opportunity to help a couple other pastor friends of mine. We were able to get a youth group started at Boonesboro with Pastor Rob Welty, and over in Martinsburg with Pastor James Brown. And then through that, we were able to meet Pastor Shane, and I was able to become a part of the staff at West End with Pastor Shane. And you know, with God, I always know that He's there, and He's not going to leave me, or He's not going to forsake me. And I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. The only perfect person was Jesus, and He nailed Him to a cross. So I know that we have grace and we have forgiveness, and I just try to tell people about what Jesus has done in my life personally. So the moment that sticks out to me as a major accomplishment was February 15th, 2014. I was able to have my ordination done by Pastor Rob Welty, to where I was able to get my license to be able to preach the gospel. So my favorite Bible verse is Psalms chapter 51. It is David in the prayer of pardon for our sins. That is the favorite Bible verse that I have and that I like the most. And the one in Psalms chapter 4 verse 8, to where we are able to lie down and sleep in peace because the Lord is the one that makes us dwell in His safety. Psalms 121, because it tells us about where our strength comes from. Our strength comes from the Lord, and the Lord is the one that gives us the strength and the wisdom for everything that we need in every day of our lives.